Alright folks, get ready for a wild ride. This movie throws together a badass Wolverine who's got a touch of the beast in him, with a crazy, unpredictable Deadpool. This is a clash of titans, a no-nonsense hero against a relentless jokester. Sparks fly from the get-go. Logan throws Deadpool into the air, but he flips out of the grip and unleashes a hail of bullets. Logan then slams Deadpool through a wall, but even that doesn't keep him down. They go toe-to-toe, blades clashing, punches flying, each one dishing out as much as they're taking. But hold on, things take a turn. A whole fleet of vehicles rolls up, forcing these unlikely allies to team up to survive. What's the big deal? Can this ragtag duo save the universe? You'll have to see for yourself. This action-packed, hilarious adventure is in theaters now. It was a dreary day, and Deadpool, feeling bored, decided to pay a visit to Wolverine's grave. His own timeline was in danger, and only Wolverine could change its fate. But here he was, reduced to just bones. Deadpool dug and dug, muttering to himself, before snapping his shovel in two and unleashing a string of curses. With no one around to hear, he brought Wolverine's skeleton out and lamented his situation. Just as he was getting into his story, agents from the Temporal Variance Authority arrived. Deadpool quickly shoved the skeleton back into the grave, listening to their verdict. Knowing there was no escape, he grabbed Wolverine's bones and charged into battle. He smashed a rib bone into one agent's face, and then used two other bones as makeshift weapons. He even used Wolverine's adamantium-laced skull as a weapon, cracking teeth with each blow. With his trademark humor, Deadpool took on the whole squad, dodging attacks with a wink and a grin. As more reinforcements arrived, Deadpool used Wolverine's spinal bones as clubs, effortlessly taking them down. Finally, he strapped on a set of Wolverine's signature claws, ready to take on anything. But the story goes back much further. Wade Wilson, using a time machine, traveled to Earth 616, the sacred timeline. There he met Happy Hogan and asked to join the Avengers. Happy Hogan, while patient, ultimately declined Wade's request. 6 years went by, and Wade decided to leave his mercenary days behind, trading in his katanas for a wrench and a greasy mechanic's uniform. He even attempted to cover his bald head with a poorly fitting toupee. He was recently dumped by his girlfriend Vanessa, but thankfully his friends still cared. Just as he opened his door for a new day, he was surprised to find them all gathered, throwing a birthday party for him. Even the blind old lady, Blind Al, invited him to partake in some illicit substances. But Wade, on his path to becoming a good citizen, politely declined. He went to visit Vanessa, who informed him she had been promoted to a management position and was now dating a tall, handsome German man. Wade forced a smile, the kind of smile that no man ever wants to make, one of begrudging acceptance and forced optimism. He gave a short speech, thanking his friends for being in his life. After blowing out the candles, Deadpool stepped outside and saw the Temporal Variance Authority agents waiting for him. He wasn't surprised. To keep the party going, he tried to calm them down and talk things out. But they were tense and ready for a fight, bristling with every word he said. Before he could even get his usual quips out, a man appeared behind him and dragged him away. There he met a man named Paradox. Instead of throwing Deadpool in jail, he was surprisingly friendly and offered him a tour of the headquarters. Paradox flattered Deadpool, telling him he was meant for greater things, and offered him a position among superheroes. This was Deadpool's lifelong dream. He excitedly waved to Captain America on the monitor before running to the nearest mirror and banging his head against it to regain his composure. Deadpool's life had taken a turn. From a used car salesman, he was now a respected hero. He went home, got dressed in a brand new, custom-made costume, and returned to Paradox's headquarters, ready for his new adventure. Deadpool was thrilled for a moment, but the excitement was short-lived. Paradox delivered a grim message. Deadpool's universe was about to be destroyed. It would happen when the timeline's anchor creature died, and in this case, that creature was Wolverine. Instead of trying to save Deadpool's timeline, Paradox was actively monitoring it, ensuring its demise. He offered Deadpool a place in the sacred timeline, a chance to leave his life as a nobody behind. Deadpool's heart sank. He couldn't let this happen. He feigned agreement, lulling Paradox into a false sense of security. Then, in a flash, he snatched Paradox's tempad and escaped through time. Paradox immediately ordered his agents to chase him. The battle at Wolverine's grave was brutal. Deadpool, wielding his adamantium claws, carved through his pursuers. One agent got a hemorrhoid surgery, another had his. Little Bird, destroyed. The sheer carnage caused even the tough black agent to sweat profusely. Deadpool, leaving nothing to chance, finished them off with a well-placed sword throw. With his pursuers gone, Deadpool traveled across the multiverse, searching for Wolverine. His first attempt was a disaster. He found a tiny, stunted version of Wolverine and quickly moved on. He kept searching, but kept encountering brutal, aggressive Wolverines, each one more violent than the last. After countless failed encounters, Deadpool finally found a Wolverine who was just as miserable as he was. This Wolverine, Logan, was drowning his sorrows in alcohol. Deadpool tried to explain the situation, but Logan, annoyed by the constant chatter, activated his claws, only to find they were stunted and unusable. Deadpool pulled out his gun and demanded Logan come with him. Logan, a classic rebel, finished his bottle in one gulp and collapsed on the floor. Deadpool had no choice but to drag the drunk Wolverine back to the TVA. Paradox, still enraged, was even more furious when he heard about Deadpool's plan to save his universe. He called him an idiot, arguing that the anchor creature couldn't be replaced easily. Worse yet, Deadpool had brought back the worst possible variation of Wolverine, a man hated by his own world. Paradox, desperate, pleaded with Deadpool to accept his offer and remain in the TVA, enjoying a life of luxury and comfort. He saw no point in struggling to save a world doomed to destruction. Deadpool refused to listen. He demanded to see Paradox's superior. However, Paradox instead threw Deadpool into the multiversal junkyard, leaving Wolverine to wake up confused and in the same predicament. Lying on the ground, Deadpool asked Logan to help him up. Logan, in a fit of rage, instinctively activated his claws and lunged at Deadpool. Luckily, Deadpool's healing factor saved him. Logan, unconcerned with the universe's fate, turned to leave. Deadpool attacked, but his powers backfired. Logan, enraged, impaled Deadpool from both sides, lifting him into the air. Deadpool climbed onto Logan's neck, determined to use force to wake him up. Logan slammed his head into Deadpool's face, then unleashed a barrage of punches, sending Deadpool flying dozens of feet. The real fight had begun. Logan was a savage, ready to kill. Deadpool, ever the showman, stomped on a metal bar, swapping out his bullet magazines. Logan charged, a four-legged killing machine. Deadpool's bullets were no match for Logan's strength. The Wolverine easily closed the distance, cutting off both of Deadpool's gun barrels. Now forced to use swords, Deadpool and Logan clashed in a blur of steel. Each blow was a counterattack, a dance of pain and fury. Logan's claws were like living weapons, whipping in and out, making it difficult for Deadpool to react. The fight became a wild brawl. Deadpool's blades were no match for Logan's primal fury. In a desperate move, Deadpool stabbed Logan with a sword, but couldn't pull it out. He switched to his knives, but Logan impaled him through the chest. Raising his claws to finish Logan, Deadpool suddenly surrendered. He promised to help Logan fix his past, claiming that the TVA could do anything, including changing past and future timelines. Logan, calmed by the prospect of a new chance, agreed. Just then, Johnny Storm appeared, warning them about an incoming threat. A horde of people arrived, riding bizarre, motorized steeds. They surrounded Deadpool, Logan, and Johnny, forming a circle of danger. Johnny told them to hide behind him. Deadpool, always up for a bit of chaos, couldn't resist the opportunity. Johnny took to the skies, unleashing a powerful energy blast, but the enemies deflected it with ease. Defeated, Johnny plummeted back down, falling onto a water pump and then bouncing off the ground. One of the enemy riders, recognizing Logan, prepared to attack. Deadpool, taking advantage of the moment, pulled the two swords and the knife out of Logan's body. Now, Wolverine was free to fight. Together, they charged at the enemy, a battle cry echoing through the air. The rider was defeated, his head severed. Logan, victorious, roared, "Who's next?" The battle ended abruptly as Deadpool and Logan were caught in an energy field, frozen in place. They were captured, along with Johnny Storm, and transported to Cassandra Nova's lair. Deadpool awoke bound, his arms wrapped around Logan, both of them trapped inside a metal cage. A hulking figure, with thick arms and a rope that burned with a strange flame, opened the gates. Two enormous arms moved the transport vehicle forward. Johnny's face was filled with terror as the doors of the base opened, revealing Cassandra Nova, the twin sister of Professor Xavier. With a flick of her wrist, Nova freed Deadpool and Logan, then turned to Johnny, criticizing him for making new friends without her permission. Deadpool, oblivious to the gravity of the situation, greeted Johnny with open arms. Despite Johnny's desperate attempts to explain, Nova eliminated him in a blink of an eye. Logan, annoyed, berated Deadpool for his reckless talkativeness, telling him to keep his mouth shut. Nova interrupted their argument, explaining that she had struck a deal with the TVA. In exchange for being allowed to use her powers freely, she would deal with any dissenters. When Nova insulted Professor X, Logan, enraged, unleashed his claws. Nova, however, simply pressed him to the ground with one finger, then used Logan to dig a tunnel. Deadpool, terrified, tried to reason with Nova, explaining that he only wanted to go home. But Nova, using her telepathy, forced him to relive painful memories, even though he didn't have hair to pull at. He struggled to resist her control, just as Logan returned, impaling Nova with his claws. Deadpool, seizing the opportunity, threw a knife at Nova's chest. However, she remained unharmed and sent Logan flying with a flick of her wrist. Alioth appeared, forcing Nova and her forces back into their base. Logan, using his jetpack, escaped with Deadpool in tow. Landing on the ground, Deadpool, with a touch of sincerity, asked Logan what he thought about being left behind. Logan, too tired for pleasantries, simply urged Deadpool to remove the knife from his backside and get up. Their first priority was to find a way back to the TVA. After a day of travel, they found an abandoned diner. The only thing that hadn't expired was a bottle of iron-infused whiskey. Logan, drowning his sorrows, took a few sips. In that moment, the two unlikely heroes found a common ground, and Logan, knowing Deadpool had recently been dumped, softened towards him. After resting, they set out again, with no clear destination in mind. Suddenly, Deadpool's familiar dog appeared, running towards him. Deadpool, overjoyed, took off his mask and hugged his furry companion. The dog had come with another version of Deadpool. After a brief introduction, Nicepool gave them a car and directions to the border, where they could join the resistance against Nova. Deadpool hesitated, not wanting to leave his dog behind. Logan, impatient, grabbed the dog and handed it back to Nicepool, urging Deadpool to get in the car. He drove them through the desert, heading towards a hidden path in the woods. Deadpool, bored, tried to be funny, but accidentally revealed the truth. There was no way to fix Logan's timeline. Logan was furious. He stabbed Deadpool in the thigh with his claws. Deadpool tried to explain that he only lied to save the world, and that Logan, as a hero, was the only one who could help. But Logan wouldn't accept his explanation. He unleashed a torrent of insults, calling Deadpool a half-hearted clown, a grown man with an immature heart. He told Deadpool he was incapable of saving a relationship, let alone a world. Deadpool, insulted, punched Logan in the face. Of course, Logan retaliated. He strapped Deadpool into his seat and then slashed at him with his claws. Deadpool, using his momentum, pushed Logan out of the car and grabbed his swords. Like a whirlwind, Logan attacked, sending Deadpool sprawling. Deadpool, after absorbing the initial onslaught, fought back, managing to pin Logan down and land a few hits. Logan, gathering his strength, kicked Deadpool through the car's roof. Deadpool, switching to a different weapon, rejoined the fight, but was soon disarmed and had his arm broken by Logan. However, Deadpool's healing factor quickly repaired the damage. He wrapped Logan's neck with his seatbelt. Logan, with his sharp claws, cut the belt, escaping Deadpool's hold. The fight raged on, a brutal back and forth, blood and sweat flying everywhere. Finally, Logan, using his full strength, pinned Deadpool down and unleashed a series of claw attacks. He knocked Deadpool unconscious, but collapsed from exhaustion himself. A mysterious person arrived, driving a vehicle and taking them to the Resistance's base. There they met Elektra, the cold and calculating assassin, Blade, the stoic vampire hunter, and Remy LeBeau, known as Gambit, a charismatic thief who could manipulate kinetic energy. Laura walked in, answering Deadpool's question about who brought them there. Deadpool was stunned. "That's X-23, the one I've been talking about," he exclaimed. Their mission was to defeat Nova and return to their own realities. However, it was easier said than done. None of them could resist Nova's mind control, except for Magneto's helmet. Elektra convinced the group to let Deadpool and Logan join the Resistance. The black guy agreed, saying they needed all the help they could get. Deadpool, excited, threw his arms up in the air. Logan, however, ignored everyone and sat by the fire, finishing his bottle of booze. Laura, sitting next to him, tried to reassure him. She spoke about how she and many other children had grown up because of Wolverine, and how heartbroken she was to see him in such a state. Logan, his eyes red and teary, spoke of his old teammates, blaming himself for not saving them. Laura offered more words of comfort before leaving him alone. The next day, Logan decided to join the fight. They drove towards Nova's base. Blade used a mortar to blow a hole in the entrance, while Elektra, driving through fire, made a sharp turn. Nova's soldiers were ready for battle. Logan emerged from the trunk and joined the others. Nova, amused, simply turned away. 6 heroes against an entire army, but none of them flinched. They unleashed their powers, ready to fight. The battle raged, with bullets flying and smoke filling the air. Each member of Laura's team took on their own opponent. Blade faced a demonic hybrid, who was difficult to hit thanks to his ability to teleport. The soldier, taking advantage of Blade's distraction, shot him in the mouth, but Blade remained unharmed. He turned and killed the attacker. Gambit, using his powers to enhance his cards, killed enemies with each throw. He was fast and agile, taking out the snipers in the high towers with a flick of his wrist. The team was gaining ground. They cleared a path for Deadpool and Logan to enter the base and find Nova. The remaining 4 members took up defensive positions. Nova, calmly sipping tea, seemed confident in her powers. Without moving, she sent Deadpool flying into a wall. Logan, unleashing his claws, couldn't even touch her. The battle outside was nearing its end. Blade had dispatched the lizard-monkey hybrid. Gambit had killed his opponent with a heart-piercing card, and Laura had severed the legs of an enemy who, despite his armored head, was still vulnerable to normal attacks. Logan was struggling. Nova had him pinned, his rear end in the air. She invaded his mind, forcing him to relive his pain, making him blame himself. He closed his eyes, wanting to forget everything. Suddenly, Deadpool appeared, placing Magneto's helmet on Nova's head. Her powers were neutralized, and Logan was freed. But the only way to return was through Nova, and Deadpool was faced with a difficult choice. He was afraid that if he removed the helmet, she would control him. Just as things seemed to be going their way, a few gunshots rang out. Pyro, a mutant with fire manipulation abilities, shot at Nova, ensuring no one could escape. It turned out he was a secret agent sent by Paradox to keep an eye on Nova. Before Pyro could explain himself, Logan punched him unconscious. They had no choice. Logan yelled at Deadpool to remove Nova's helmet, allowing her to heal herself. In exchange, she would use a time and reality-altering ring, provided by a Doctor Strange variant, to open a portal, sending them to Wilson's timeline. This action would alert Alioth, giving them only 4 seconds to escape. Without a word, they ran as fast as they could, managing to slip through the portal just before Alioth arrived. It opened its mouth to devour them, but they were gone. Logan landed on the roof of a dilapidated car in the city streets. They wasted no time in reaching Paradox's location. Nova, carrying an unconscious Pyro, suddenly appeared. She revealed that she had discovered Paradox's plan to use a device called the Time Ripper to destroy timelines. With a snap of her fingers, she sent Deadpool and Logan flying, then kidnapped Paradox to avenge his betrayal. Emerging from the rubble, Deadpool was greeted by his beloved dog. He knelt down, extending his arms to welcome his furry friend, but his happiness was short-lived. A legion of Deadpools, all different ages and sizes, appeared from the portal. They were filled with murderous intent, ready to attack. Deadpool tried to reason with them, but they ignored him. The youngest Deadpool rejected his arguments, while a blonde Deadpool unleashed a hail of bullets. Thankfully, Deadpool managed to use his duplicate as a shield, preventing himself from becoming a human pincushion. Taking shelter, Deadpool discovered that his duplicate could not heal. He decided to take him to the hospital. However, as they were leaving, they were met with a barrage of bullets, including some laced with poison. His duplicate was hit by all of the attacks, and his head exploded. Logan, thinking of a safer plan, used the dog as a shield. The Deadpools immediately dropped their weapons, fearful of harming the canine. Logan, confident, walked towards his friend. After mourning his duplicate, Deadpool armed himself with 2 pistols. He and Logan charged into battle. Logan, with the helmet on, was now in control of his own mind. Together, they slaughtered the Deadpools. The enemies, though numerous, were clumsy and lacked healing abilities, making them easy targets. They tried to use swarm tactics, but the duo pushed them back effortlessly. They moved as one, fighting from the street to the top of a bus. The army of Deadpools was quickly defeated. They smashed through the bus windows, triumphantly looking out. A young Deadpool, who was pretending to be in charge, believed they had won. But the other Deadpools, surprisingly, got back on their feet. The battle was far from over. Just in time, Peter arrived on a bicycle. He was wearing a Deadpool suit, which was quite the sight. As soon as he took off his mask, the Deadpools surrounded him, overjoyed to see their idol. They all forgot about fighting. Taking advantage of the distraction, Logan and Deadpool rushed to the TVA headquarters. Nova was controlling the Time Ripper, which could erase every timeline in a matter of seconds. Logan used his power to control Paradox and force him to reveal how to destroy the Time Ripper. The price, however, was a steep one. Logan would have to sacrifice himself. Seeing 95% of all timelines being destroyed on the monitor, they knew they had to act fast. In the face of this existential threat, they had become friends. Logan was prepared to sacrifice himself, but Deadpool, in a surprising twist, attacked him and switched places. Even in the face of death, he still cracked jokes and struck a heroic pose, even flying out of the window. After his act, he tried to reach the Time Ripper with wires, but he was too far. Everyone watched in horror as the timer ticked down. Just when it seemed like all timelines were doomed, Logan burst through a window. He and Deadpool combined their efforts, undoing Nova's control. His torn suit revealed his muscular physique, which impressed Deadpool. The two fought for every percentage point. The timer went up and down, causing everyone to hold their breath. They reminisced about their journey, drawing power from their shared experiences. Finally, with a final push, they defeated Nova, causing her to vanish. Hunter B-15 arrived with her team to arrest Paradox. In gratitude for saving the multiverse, B-15 fulfilled Wade's request, comforting Logan and reminding him that it was his past that had made him the anchor that saved Deadpool's timeline. Thanks to the efforts of everyone, Deadpool reconciled with his girlfriend, bringing the story to a satisfying end. That's all for today, folks. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.